we're going to have this as a special briefing. Dave Wyndham is going to take it away.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's been one of those days.
It's been one of those days. Well, yes, it has. And it's
The power of being the chair. Look at you. Go.
all right.
And then when we're done, we're just going to.
Yeah.
And then yank me right off stage.
It all depends on what we like.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so it has been a very fast-moving 24 hours or so. So yesterday, obviously, the governor came out with his proclamation about dental and medical, which there's some confusion out there because it doesn't align with the phases. Phase 1 and phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. But it was already kind of set in motion before then to end on the 18th and open on the 19th. So it just meshed in a different way. Going from that, because we're talking about phases, we had 2 meetings yesterday. We had a meeting with county commissioners and health directors who had gone from phase 1 to phase 2, and the group that was looking to go from phase 1 to phase 2, and comparing notes. And I think the comparing notes between the different counties, I think, went pretty well. So the counties that are going to phase 2, their biggest takeaway really was that we have said people can go to phase 2, the counties can go to phase 2, but there's no guidance, so there's no guidance been put forward. Lewis County.
Thank you.
Lewis County. So there were no guidance documents put out in conjunction with the release. So health directors are saying, great, we were able to tell people get started, but you can't start on anything until you have the guidance document for your industry or sector. So we pushed back pretty hard on that last night. The county commissioner, I think, did a really good job. And that theme was followed under the second call, and the second call was with John Weisman and just the health directors. That's who was supposed to be on the call. And we had what we call a robust, frank discussion. So, with all that entails. And again, we talked about we really need as we go into phase 2. Now, for the most part, the phase 2 recommendations are out there. Still a few that are hanging out there that we're waiting on for some sectors as we go into phase 2. But I think for the most part, those things will be ready for us as we go into phase 2. We've combined all of ours. It's all on one page on the DOH website where you can look at all the different sectors for phase 2 in one location. And we'll be putting that on the county website and Facebook and wherever we can put it. But the things we did not have last night were the county variance plan. Because they moved the goalposts. So the first set of counties for moving from phase 1 to phase 2 had a certain set of criteria. The new criteria for our county and others in our situation are higher. There are a lot more pieces in this than there were in the last one. So even though we've already submitted a plan, we already have an approval from the Board of Health, approval from the county commissioners, this is going to cause a rewrite because there are a lot more pieces in this. I talked to the area command this morning, and I just talked to Lydia with the health department, and I'm going to break some of these pieces apart so it's not me writing this whole thing, because if you look into it, there's more stuff. As the governor said last week, I think it was yesterday, they're isolating at home, isolating and quarantining at home. One of the pieces is you have to be able to support them in their quarantine. And he said the state would handle that. When asked by a reporter, he said the state will handle that. Well, the state handled that by handing it down to the counties to do. So I've already had a quick discussion with the sheriff's office, and there's some problems with us picking up people's meds and from the pharmacy and taking them to them. So there's some risks there. If they have opioids, we absolutely cannot do that. So there's a lot of pieces we're going to have to work through the next few days. Commissioner Edelman and I talked last night. One of the big takeaways was that the state has paid to have National Guard and Department of Licensing folks trained to do this contact tracing work. And by golly, you'll use them. And, okay, we'll use them. And I've already had a discussion with Lydia this morning. I've had a discussion with Area Command. Should we get to the point where we are needing more people, so right now we have our own 3 that are doing it full time, plus we have another 7 on standby within staff, so that gives us 10, 9 or 10 depending on who's at home. If we have to go and use other state assets, we can put those at the Area Operations Command, put like 2 people per pod up there. They have phones, they have computers, and then we'll put a nurse up there who's normally doing the contact investigation, and she will be in charge of all those people. And we will just completely handle that we'll get the state resources, but we will manage the state resources ourselves. So, and that still allows us to have nursing staff available to do the other contact notifications for STDs or hepatitis or tuberculosis, or whatever. We'll still have that capacity in-house to deal with that while we're dealing with something else. So we will write that into the plan. I haven't had a chance to go through the new 19 pages of contact tracing guidelines. They just came in this morning, so Lydia and I we both have appointments this afternoon, but while we're waiting in waiting rooms, we'll be reading through the new criteria. It's supposed to clarify what the governor was saying last week. It caused so much consternation in the community over isolation and quarantine. What's mandatory? What's voluntary? Who does what? Who enforces? Who? So there's. I'm hoping it's in this document. I haven't had a chance to read it. So I just printed it before I ran down. The plan. We'll work on the plan. I want to get it done in the next. My goal is to have it done by Thursday, close of business, for a review on Friday, and then we'll try to repeat the process on Tuesday.
Could we throw that on our Tuesday meeting agenda?
Mm-hmm.
I was actually kind of hoping that we could even, it takes nothing for us to do a phone call now. On this one, I think this is an emergency situation, in my opinion. I'd like to see us all get together on Friday if that's possible. Well, get together for.
Right. We'll have to do Board of Health too.
And get them too, get it passed and get it out so we can get it done and give us a chance to let them look over the weekend and overcome the objections we may have on Monday or Tuesday. And if we still need to do something on Tuesday to really set something in place, we'll be prepared to have a double. That's just my.
I'd like to move it as fast as
Can you
possible.
turn it around that quick?
Yes. I mean,
Wonderful.
Oh,
I can work evenings since I just have the house to myself, so it's just me.
And I want to also ask you to prepare something else aside from that. Prepare a statement for the public, because I agree, we talked about this, that's what he was saying, is I wrote a check, I need you to cash it. You got to use these people or, he's not going to help us. So we need to find a way, but you and I know, we've had this conversation in our community, they need to know that any personal contact during any type of tracing or whatever will be done by our local staff. We'll be contacting them at home, not state workers, to protect their privacy and their rights.
Still have to follow the HIPAA guidelines.
Yes,
And
but if they know it's not going to be the state knocking on their door, because that's what everybody's.
Yeah, nobody's going door to door. That is,
Yeah.
we cleared that up
So
last
if you
night.
prepare
That's not
that
happening.
and saying that, any contact that is required because of tracing will be conducted whenever possible, or whatever you need to do it by your local employee. That would really help alleviate those.
Okay,
fears.
I'll put something together that talks about our capabilities that we have.
and a lot of that should be in the,
It'll be in the plan.
Well,
Right.
yeah, well,
But
I
we'll
don't know if I want it in the plan, because I want to be able to make it look as big as we can to get them on board.
Well, I want to get, in the plan, I think the plan should have as many options as we could put it.
Options are rich.
Scenario A is this, scenario B is this, scenario C with everything coming apart at the seams looks like this, So, and that's how I intend to approach that, is just to lay out what our response capabilities would be based on the scenario.
Would you do that as a news release then?
That would be in my plan. And the other thing would be in the form of a news release, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a
So,
clarification.
I just like to keep it as simple and as short as possible.
few words.
Yeah, very, very.
Well,
few
actually, you know
words.
what? We could do it in a video.
You have the.
Yeah, let's do both.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
A video and a news release.
yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to share the news release than it is the video.
Okay.
People look at
Or
it, especially if
the
it's
demo.
simple.
I want to be clear then, so by Friday, you'll have the plan to go out to the members for review.
Right.
So Tuesday, first thing, we would have the Board of Health, and we
No.
already are going to have a commission meeting.
Unless
No,
I
the
can do
board-
it Friday, yeah.
Yeah, Board of Health and the commission meeting, a web meeting on Friday.
So you'll have it
So,
ahead of time so they can review it and act on it
Thursday?
on Friday?
I can have it done Thursday.
well, that, because we need 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're okay time-wise, I just want to make sure Dave has enough time to do it and get it.
Well,
out.
I will know the answer for sure tomorrow morning because at Area Command, I'm going to be passing some things to other folks.
Good.
We are going to, Area Command is going to write this thing.
Good.
As long as they get it
And I
done
will
in time,
compile.
I'm fine with that, but if not.
No, I mean, we're,
As a team.
as a team, we will do it.
So
And we have
then
so many
maybe,
talented people. Let me get
um,
that thing done.
so let's maybe start soliciting the Board of Health members and see what their availability is
Yeah.
for Friday.
You'll want to do it Friday morning, not that it matters, I'm not here, and Melissa's going to be gone that afternoon, so we're going to have to go Friday morning.
And one of the best parts is
On
because
the
it's
Friday
a
before
special
Memorial
meeting,
Day.
emergency
Right.
meeting, there'll be one thing on the agenda.
Because
And that's simple.
And it
Monday
won't be
we're off.
emergency, It'll just be
Right.
special.
Yeah, so
That's
there'll
fine.
still be one thing on,
If
you
we
only
get it
go
Friday,
on the
Okay, all
agenda.
right, all
You can
right.
only vote on
We'll
one.
put this thing in high gear.
let me know where you want. What you want me to do.
Okay, so this afternoon, as I'm going through my appointments, I'll be sitting in waiting rooms and start breaking this out into pieces. And then I will make those assignments tomorrow morning at Area Command. Lydia and I will talk as well. This is doable. It's just going to take some concentrated burst of effort here.
So
We've got all the data, and I think all of our data matches these metrics very well. So we just have to explain, that's the big thing, is we have to explain how our data meets the metrics.
The other thing I would just say, so we have already a foundation from the first time we
Mhm.
applied. Send it, when you're gonna just basically be updating that. Correct. Okay, so send the whole thing, to us, but also have a separate that breaks out what is different
Got it.
to kind of expedite our review. So
Okay,
since we
so-
all passed and unanimously agreed to,
Okay, so what I can do then is I'll send out a Word document, red line,
Yep.
and then I'll send out a PDF of the completed.
yeah,
Okay, that's.
I mean, whatever is the easiest way to
Yeah.
do it so that we
Yeah.
see everything that is an addition,
Okay.
that we're just kind of reviewing that,
Right,
since we
because-
all already agreed
That's
to
a
the
15-minute
first.
compared to, I love that.
Yeah, so what it'll do, I will take the data for the last 21 days, as opposed to what we had before, which was like, yeah, before. So we will focus exactly on the things that they're asking for. So, and that data has changed since we wrote the first one. If we use the cases per 100,000, that's 0.71, and we're running right now about 0.48. And each day that we don't have a case, then that drops down considerably because our numbers are so small. That's one of the joys of small numbers, finally. Yay. Okay.
So how quickly then, so let's say for instance, we do get this to go on Friday, we get our stuff, we're on the list, we get together Friday. Doesn't mean everything's opening up over the weekend. What's the turnaround time and with the
No.
holiday and everything?
By the time we get this approved, it's going to be the following week.
Okay,
It's
just
like
so everybody's
like
kind of
3 to
clear
5
on.
days.
Yeah, John's been
Yeah,
turning around
the
in like,
expectation.
like
And
3
I
to
don't-
5 days.
Yeah.
So.
We don't want to anyway, we need.
Right,
Yeah.
but I mean, we might know that, but
Actually,
think about.
Should we
public.
put that
Right.
in our thing, that the addition to that, it'll only open as the commission?
Yeah, because so for example, I think it was KidCast was ready to go. They were basically pre-approved, and the evening that they were going to announce, they had the outbreak in the fruit packing plant, and they shut their own move down. So we have that capability.
Because we can open up sections, you know, I want it open as soon as possible. There's no confusion there, but at the same time, we know things can happen, and we also need to know that we can control as we're opening, that we have the staff and everything, and we gotta get the plans out to these people.
I think it's also important that the businesses know that if they don't feel comfortable opening, they don't have to.
Actually, that's some of the calls I had. I was surprised by that. Another thing they're afraid of is if they open and find that they can't do it, their staff will no longer get unemployment if they close it back down. That was one of their worries.
Hmm.
I'd never thought about those things, but.
Yeah. Legitimate concern.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that though, I'd like you guys to consider that, I'm not recommending this or anything now, but I'm just hearing those conversations that we know that certain communities like Princeport have been hit really hard. And if we go to open up and we're open before other areas, we do have even greater worries of these big influences. I'd like you to consider, I'm not recommending, right now, just consider that we do our own special thing, closing down camping if they open that up at federal parks and stuff like that. I know they can use that dollars for the tourism, but man,
I don't see the feds or the state opening up parks for camping.
Not for camping, for day use,
Day use.
but not for
Yeah, well,
camping.
just-
They're already open for day use.
yeah. But just in
But-
case, I'm a little worried about that one. I just want to throw that out for you guys to
Yeah.
consider.
When, what phase would that be in? Is that in 3 or 4?
Being three. And-
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
And-
Maybe, everything's maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they keep changing things around and opening them willy-nilly. We'd get a couple of minutes' notice, and that's why I wanted you guys to think
If
about
that,
Yeah.
we
and-
might learn about it
Yeah.
at the press conference.
Right.
it. Yeah,
Which is
So,
so frustrating.
and so that's what we're waiting for to see at 11. We should know more from the governor's press conference. One thing that was brought out last night was that we probably won't see phase 4 in the state until
Next year.
next year.
that was interesting.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's true, but the reason why is there's so many things that are changing right now on the
Yeah.
national level. You got these other states that are opening. Everybody's saying, there was a jump. You can't have a jump in 3 days. You can't, because it takes time for it to go through its process. But other ones are showing that it's not. So we may have to, the state may have to change what's working out there. So, and of course,
Yeah.
there's the vaccinations. And some people are going to give me some pretty bad emails just because I mentioned that word, but that is.
Well, it's a huge component of it. I mean,
Right.
the majority of people will want the vaccine, and that ultimately is, the surest path to a broad reopening.
Yeah. That may be the trigger, the true trigger.
Mhm.
We don't know.
Also, the be mindful of sort of the cultural impacts of this, and I don't mean, I mean like in the sense of, understanding what it's going to take for people to feel safe going back out. We've spent, the past 10, 11, 12 weeks talking about how, the dangers that are out there and how serious this is and the reality of the virus and all that. There's going to be a sort of, for some people, there's going to take some time to psychologically kind of catch up to whether or not it's safe for me to go out and do the things that I was doing before. And vaccines are a part of that. Masking is a part of that. Still maintaining some distance is part of that. But I think there's going to be a period of time where, as things reopen, whether it's phase 2 or 3 or beyond, where people are going to be sort of testing the water, and kind of trying to figure out what makes sense.
I think some of our messaging goes to that. It's, they just started coming out with a process called psychographics. So to look at the psychology of the groups, not just demographic, but the psychographics of smaller subsets of the group. And then tailoring, and I'll use high schools as an example, because it's the example of what they taught us. You have in high school, you have a group that they call the average kids, and then you have the sports kids, the goth kids, the alternative, and each one of them requires a different message because they don't communicate the same. So, and I think our general population is much the same in that we're going to have to tailor our messages to particular psychographic groups in order to, because we have fears on both sides. So let's start making messaging that's not a one-size-fits-all messaging and start targeting the specific things. And I think Dr. Stiles, who's helping with the recovery operations,
He's awesome.
is going to be really delving into that. So, and helping us with some of that messaging, especially around mental health and social services. He's very keyed into those things. We were having discussions this morning about showers. We're working those pieces right now. So, as we get into phase 2, there is still a ton of work that's going to be going just managing phase 2, let alone getting ready for phase 3.
Right. Phase 3 is also for, is that, or phase 4? I get that so confused for schools.
Schools were in 4, and I think they got moved to 3. I'll have to look
That's
at
what I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
goes around.
Changes.
One thing I can assure you, if they open up camping, the Dahlia State Forest, they'll be from Seattle.
Yeah.
It'll be a quick, the same thing with Cushman, they probably
Yeah.
already are for
They are.
using the day.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, I
Weekends are
hate,
busy.
I hate being restrictive and stuff, but I don't see any other way to protect our people unless we are willing to do something that our people will be mad at us if we do it because they want to use it too. But man, I
Well, we
can
are
just see.
trying to get those key players again tomorrow with the state parks and Forest Service, National Park Service, to have one more discussion before Memorial Day.
There's some
Nope.
things that they're going to try, and I think it's very inventive.
Such as? Like what?
Skunk spray.
Yeah.
Oh,
Passive deterrence.
Yes.
interesting. We just go out to Public Works and we get that good stuff.
I was gonna
smell
say,
from-
and that's what
I was gonna say, that sounds,
It
that's
smells like a
everyday
grow
occurrence
operation,
now.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, you'll get complaints on Orca, Commissioner.
Yeah,
So Commissioners, for Friday then, can we just plan for a tentative, like probably 10 o'clock Board of Health and 10:15 commission meeting?
Okay.
And I'll confirm with Dave tomorrow when I know that you're going to.
or 9 o'clock and get it over and get it done.
Yeah.
Is 9 okay?
Well,
I didn't know what
we
day.
have Area Command.
yeah.
So
So-
let me get through that first.
Never
Yeah.
mind, so
We
10
could
o'clock.
even do, if we do 10:30 probably,
Okay, 10:30.
would be better, because
Right here,
it's gonna be such a
10:45.
big.
Yeah,
I just want to do it as soon as we can to get.
yeah. All right.
I
Now
just
give me a
wanna
chance
make
to
sure
brief it
you're-
one last time to Area Command. So. Okay, well, I have my marching orders for a while.
If you need us, give us a yell.
Yeah, you got people willing to help, free right
Okay, all right, super.
Oh, I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, well, no, you do,
No.
you have three of us right here, and we mentioned, that even, I worry that he really expects that above the number of the 15 per 100,000 above what you can already do, he said that.
Well, and we'll add that to it, so we'll,
Yeah.
I'll just take,
So, we'll volunteer.
Double.
I'm
Well,
sorry,
and I-
I just did it back to you, didn't I? I will volunteer to get some training so we count as an extra body. And
You know, I'll just say
Yeah,
too, you know,
absolutely.
along those lines, I mean, you have, you know, tap into our paramedics and EMTs,
Mhm.
tap into
Mhm.
nursing students from Olympic College. You have,
And
I
if
mean,
we-
there's
Yeah.
gonna be some
and if we still
other
have people
things that,
furloughed from the medical system,
yeah,
I definitely I would grab them.
yeah.
Because, I mean, we have them right now, we have school nurses, that's who we're using right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Our furloughed school nurses, and they're very
Here,
capable.
maybe,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thought that was you.
Okay,
All right, that's all.
Good.
All
I'm good,
right, I'm sure we'll adjourn.
Second.
All right, we're good.
super.